Happy January. Happy New Year, Ozark Electric Cooperative membership. The new year is upon us. Resolutions are being made. Hopefully they're being kept. I've made one. I'm going to try and become more fit this next year. The arrival of our granddaughters has really kind of reminded me that, you know what, I need to do something to kind of get myself in better shape so I can keep up with them. So I need to start that now before they start crawling, walking, running, and leaving me behind. So that's kind of mine. We just finished up December. You know, at the end of December, we have our board meeting. We meet with our directors, and we take a deep dive into the overall budget for Ozark Electric Cooperative. It takes an entire day. We go department by department. Each department manager is asked to give a synopsis and wrap up and review of their department, and then talk to any new projects, any budget lines that are going to be new and introduced, or any that have an increase in them, and explain some of that. Then also project into the next year what they're hoping to accomplish, some of the challenges that might be in their way to get those things accomplished. So that takes the entire day. We got that done, and when we looked at that, and I know that I've been telling you, we've been looking really hard at our rates, what energy is going to cost us to buy from our G&T and get that delivered to you. And we've gone as long as we can go without having a rate increase. And so we are going to be doing that. You're going to see a link in this video that will lead you to the details of that. And that will take place April 1st. Okay, so we're going to have January, February, and March to have the talk back or the questions or the inquiries to our folks to help you out with that. And so we'll be ready for it. I can tell you that the facilities charge, it's going to go up a little bit. And that facilities charge, it takes care of the facilities that's known as Ozark Electric's grid, the poles, the wires, that kind of stuff. It helps toward that. It's a fixed charge that we can bank on to do our financial projections on what we want to do. And it also helps cover with service. If you have a bright and dim, or if you have an issue or a problem or something that you're inquiring about the nature of your service with Ozark Electric, you call in and you talk to one of our dispatchers in operations, and they write up a job ticket, and we dispatch a truck to come and take a look at that. We don't send you then an invoice for a trip charge. Excuse me. It's part of what we aggregate into what we do in the cost of doing business and serving you as the members of Ozark Electric. And so that kind of gets thrown in there. One of the things that we have that is kilowatt hours. Energy is actually going to reduce. It will back up in what we will be charging, because we're introducing a new feature that you've seen calculated on your bill with no dollar amount or value applied to it, and it's KW demand. That's something that's been around in the industry for decades. It had been kind of reserved for large commercial, large industrial, to help with calculating what their demands from our system are. But now the technology is there to allow us to introduce that at the residential level and in the small commercial industrial. So all of our members will see this demand charge. And the easiest way I know to kind of put the demand charge is that our power supplier charges us a demand. And what it is any given day, our system, say during a heat wave or a winter Uri or something like that, we have everybody demanding right now the maximum amount of power necessary to run their homes, their businesses, their lifestyle. I have to make sure that that's available to do that. And so I put a burden on our power supplier to make sure that they can answer that need at any given time. In order to do that, you have to invest in infrastructure and equipment that will allow for you to reach and answer that demand across the entire system. That's what each individual home will do in the future on Ozark Electric. Because the old way we used to do it is, we would deliberate as the board and we would put together a cost analysis, and we had those demand charges that we were being charged from our wholesaler, our power provider. And so what we had to do, because we weren't deploying the technology and didn't have it to put into each home, we were then saying, okay, let's try and calculate best we can what we need to recover in the kilowatt hour energy charge to take care of the demand that we're being billed from our power supplier. So what would happen is you'd have folks that had large demand on one section of this road, and then you had some that had very little that were just kind of trucking along, and they didn't have a large motor load, or they didn't have a lot of appliances that they were kicking on and running at the same time. And so what we would do is we would just spread that and hope to recoup the whole costs through the energy charge. Now that we have the technology, it decouples that. And so it allows for us to even take a more detailed look at each person's usage and say, here's your facilities charge, because everybody has that ability to call on us, and everybody utilizes our grid, our facilities. So that's what that base charge is. Everybody uses energy. We're gonna allow you to use energy. But what we're going to do now is introduce demand, and so you set your own demand charge at your home. And so if you ask very little of us at any given time and don't demand a huge delivery within 15, 30 minutes to an hour to be delivered to your home to take care of things, then you're going to have a lower demand charge. It's the places that are, drawing down and saying, Ozark Electric, hey, I need it right now to the maximum. And so we answer by making sure that there's delivery of that, and you'll be paying for your fair share of that. Like I said, there'll be a link in this video that will take you to that. Our frontline folks in billing and member services are ready to talk to you and answer any of your questions about that. Like I said, again, I want to stress it will not go into effect until April 1st. And so you'll have that first quarter to visit with us, take a look at what the numbers that we provide in the link are going to do with your bill, and then you'll know where you're going from there. It just became, through the pandemic, through the supply chain, and we've published some things and put out there where we've seen 100% increases in some of the costs for the materials that we purchase. We ran it as long as we possibly could before needing to look at doing something with energy and with the introduction of a demand charge or in any type of rate structure that we're putting out there for you. But just energy itself, because our wholesaler power supplier is looking, and they have put a rate increase on us, and there wasn't room to absorb it. And so when we get to looking at that from our perspective, if we've got rate stability where we could absorb some of that from our power supplier, we certainly do. And we have through the pandemic and prior to that. And so looking at it, it was going to jeopardize too many of the metrics that we have to answer for meeting, borrowing ratios and other things that we need to do to stay in a strong equity position for you, our members. And so we don't like doing it. We never do. We always try to find a way to hold it off as long as we can, and I think that we did that in this 5-year stretch. And so I wanted to tell you first thing this year, because I told you leading up to, as soon as we knew and things were final, and that became final out of our December board meeting, it's going to roll out and take effect April 1. Also in January, we've got a Co-op 101 opportunity, January 16th, where we'll be up here at the office. We're going to kind of do this to try and keep engaged and available with you, our membership, so that you can come up here. You'll get to hear from different speakers in expertise throughout the co-op world, and specifically here at Ozark Electric, where our department managers or folks that know what we're going to be dealing with or talking to as a topic with you will be available to you. And so we'll gather at the co-op or wherever we publish that through our, through our website, through social media in the rural Missouri. It's going to tell you where you can come and find us and sit down with us and have access to us. And so we invite you to come and join us for that. Other than that, I hope you have an incredible start to your year. I hope 2024 is a blessing for you, and that we can continue to serve you at the high level that we do, and that our employees stay safe throughout the year. And I'll talk to you next month. All right, thank you.